The next lesson in our jewelry making workshop features designs to make and wear the same day. Today on Beads, Baubles and Jewels.
Beads, Baubles and Jewels has been brought to you in part by Beading Daily, your jewelry making resource for how-to projects, books, magazines, DVDs, events, and online learning. BeadingDaily.com. Beadalon, a manufacturer of flexible bead stringing wires, memory wire, artistic wire, stringing materials, innovative findings, and tools to help you fashion your own jewelry. Beadalon.com. Dreamtime Creations, an online supplier of crystals, findings, and jewelry making supplies since 1989. DreamtimeCreations.com. Halcraft, jewelry component manufacturer. Halcraft.com.
Get ready for a batch of ideas you can make in an evening and wear the next day, or even make and wear all in the same day. You'll never be without a new accessory for any outfit. I'm Katie Hacker, and joining me first today is Jean Campbell with a seed bead lesson. It's easy to create a potpourri of beaded bead shapes using tubular herringbone stitch and different size beads, just ready to string and wear. Then, meet Laura Timmons from Dreamtime Creations with crochet chandelier earrings. You'll want to be sure you have an event planned to wear them. Next, it's our beading workshop and 3 essential knots: overhand, lark's head, and sliding. Add these to your repertoire for lots of quick designs. Finally, Molly Schaller is back with a purple and blue druzy necklace and using pretty focal pendants with chain for a quick design. So let's meet Jean. I'm here with Beadwork Magazine Stitch Pro Jean Campbell, and Jean is going to show us how to make herringbone beads. What a great technique. I love this, Jean.
This is a really easy technique. It's a good one to know, to have in your stitch arsenal.
Definitely.
And it's really easy. So let's get started.
Okay.
You're gonna start with, I'm using size 8 beads, and you wanna do a row of ladder stitch. To do ladder stitch, I've started this, but it's a really simple technique. You pick up a bead and stitch it onto the last one.
And this is a common foundation stitch for all kinds of beadwork.
And you can go online and find how to do this. It's a very common stitch.
Yeah, and we'll have the instructions on our site.
Sure. So when you stitch it, you just want the sides of the beads to touch. Now I want to turn this into a ring. So I'm going to put the first and last beads together. Find my needle here.
And so this is how you would start. You're starting a herringbone bead, but you would use the same technique to make a rope, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So I'm going to pass through the first bead in that row and then the one I just added to make a ring.
All right.
Okay, so this is ladder stitch round, and this is, you need to have a base for herringbone stitch, and this is a really easy way to do it. So now that I've got my ring, I'm going to pick up 2, and I need to say, this ring needs to be an even number. That's really important.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick up 2 size 8 beads, and I'm going to pass down through this next bead in the ring and pull tight and pass up through the following one. You see how these beads kind of sit at angles?
Yes.
That's the classic, that's why it's called herringbone stitch.
Because it creates that
It's like
diagonal.
a chevron. Yep, yep. So I'm going to just do that all the way around. Pass up through the next one.
Yeah, the first time that I tried this, I thought that was kind of magical. The part where they just sort
magic.
of pop and tilt that way, creating that pattern. And you can do it with different colors so that you create stripes and
Right.
all kinds of things.
What happens is you're making these little columns, little chevron columns. On this last stitch, so I made this last stitch I need to step up so I can start the next round. And I'm going to pass up through both the bottom and top bead. It's kind of like taking the stairs up.
And you'll see that it zips right together.
So when I do the next round, I'll pick up 2, and I'm just going to pass down through the next bead, not go down the whole column.
So you only pass through the whole column when you are finishing a round? Or just for this?
Right. And then pass up through like that. You see?
Got it, yeah.
So you'll do that all the way around. I've done 8 beads in a circle and 11 rows long in this bead. But this is the cool part. If this bead was done with all these silver size 8s. But I use these pretty Baroque beads here, size 6s, and it makes a completely different looking beaded bead.
Oh yeah, what an easy way to change it up.
Really easy. These are done with delicas. Super easy, but see how different they all look and how they could make different ropes, different beaded beads, different
Same
flavors.
technique, just change the beads.
Yep, 8 around, 11 long. If you really want to
get crazy,
really change it up and do stripes. You could do vertical stripes like this, horizontal stripes like this. For the next one over here, I've used the long magatamas and done a spiral. Again, it's just 8 beads around, 11
beads
rows.
long.
Yep. I incorporated the Baroque beads on that big one there.
Here.
And then in these, I've done big to small to big, or small to big to small. And you can play, with different accent beads and different colors, and it's a fun technique. And you can incorporate it into jewelry so easily.
Oh, well, let's take a look at your necklace. But I do want to ask you, you could definitely do this with varying rows too. You showed us how to do 11 rows, but you could just continue to make beads as long as you want. Yeah,
you could, or short. You could make little spacer beads or anything. It's an easy technique.
Well, I love the necklace. This is really pretty. And it's one of my favorite color palettes. Those muted tones go with everything.
Yes, it does. It does. So an easy technique, really versatile, something everybody who stitches should know.
Oh, well, let's take a close look at the beaded bead before we go, because I like the way you combine the shiny finish with the matte. And that's something we've been talking a lot about, is combining those different surfaces. It looks so pretty.
We have so many beads in our stashes that we really should use every different color, flavor, finish. And this is a great opportunity to do it.
Oh yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Jean.
Thanks for having me.
And we will be right back. I'm here with artist and designer Laura Timmons from Beadalon Design Team and Dreamtime Creations. Welcome.
Yes, well, thank you. It's great to be back. So thank you so much.
And I love these earrings that you made. So pretty.
Thank you. Well, I love anything that has movement.
Of course.
And
sparkle.
And sparkle. So when you've got these earrings on, and it just, there again, instant sparkle and just, great movement for a pair of earrings.
Well, and I bet it's a great conversation starter too when you're a wire worker. You're really showing off your wire there.
Oh, definitely. In fact, that's, the one thing about this project, it's so easy and therapeutic. It's basic crochet stitch. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make the very first strand.
Okay, so what gauge wire are you using?
This is 26 gauge wire. So it's a little bit sturdier to use than some of like your 28 or your 30 gauge wires, because your earrings, we always have a tendency to just kind of, take our earrings off and throw them on the table. And the 26 gauge gives them a little bit more, body.
Before you do that, does it matter what size crystals you use? These are that teardrop shape that I love, that are top drilled side to side. So.
Right. These are the top drilled briolettes. It really does not matter what size crystals you're using.
Okay.
I prefer a top drilled crystal because then you've got more movement.
Okay, so it's more of that pendant style.
Right, and I've even got on a flat briolette as well.
On your earrings.
So on the earrings that I have on. So, same made exactly the same, just a little bit different crystal. So basically, we take our wire, we're going to do 2 basic chain stitches. I'm using a size I crochet hook, which doesn't really determine the size of the loop.
Okay.
I'm determining the size of the loop with my hand and my tension. So I've done,
depending on, so you want them to be, it looks like they're about 1/4 of an inch, a little bit less?
Right, exactly.
Okay, I can crochet a little bit, but go really, really slow so
Okay,
I can see exactly how you do it.
It's the basic chain stitch, so the wire goes from back to front over the hook. I'm gonna pull the wire through, and it just captures that crystal right in that little loop. So I'm capturing the last crystal. This is the back layer of the earrings, which has 5 of the bracelets on it.
So then you slide one down for each loop,
Right.
each stitch, I guess?
Right, so you're going to do 2 empty chain stitches and then capture each crystal in their own chain stitch. And then I'm going to do the 2 empty chain stitches at the end.
Okay.
And I want about 6 inches of wire to begin and end off. So now I'm going to end that off. So that's the back layer. The top layer is done exactly the same way, with the exception of just 1 empty chain stitch at the beginning and the end. And we've got 3 bracelets.
Okay.
So now we're just going to take these 2 pieces, layer them together.
And then twist.
And I'm going to put a little twist at the top. Now what you want to do is you want to take one of your longer wires, and you're basically going to go through and stitch your 2 pieces together.
Oh, okay. So you're holding the 2 layers together and then passing through that first stitch?
Right. I'm literally
Or
just
not even, just
kind
back
of
and
just
forth?
random, just back and forth. You're just stitching the 2 layers together.
Okay. So
They're
you can
getting-
even add more beads there if you wanted to.
You absolutely can. That's a great idea, Katie.
Hey, love the sparkle.
That's right. A further opportunity to embellish. So I'm just kind of stitching back and forth, securing those 2 layers together.
Okay.
I've brought it back up to the top. So another little twist. And now what I can do is kind of mold and shape my piece so that the crystals are a little more centered.
And you kind of fold it more triangular too.
I do. I like it a little more triangular. You can kind of play around with some different shapes actually with that.
Yeah.
With
Would
the
it
wire.
work to do it with a heavier gauge of wire?
Absolutely. You could definitely use a 24 gauge even with it. 22 gauge is a little bit harder.
Getting a little bit too stiff for crochet.
And it kind of takes, well, you can still crochet with it with your larger, like your big Miyama Jamma crystals and all of that, but really with, it takes a little bit more of the therapeutic process out of it. So, you know, we definitely want to continue to, we love projects that are therapeutic anyways. And crochet is very therapeutic because it's just that constant, repetitive stitch. Absolutely. So I've got my round nose pliers. I'm just gonna make my little earring loop at the top. My wire wrap.
Right.
Cut my wire.
And you know what? I love that you can use any colors and make it go with your outfit, especially if you have some big event coming up.
Well, and you can
These are showstoppers right here.
Well, they are, and you could really use a great combination of colors too. It wouldn't have to be all monotone.
That would be fun.
So,
or you could bring in the colored wire too to reinforce the color of the beads, or
in fact,
be complementary.
Even like this pair right here, I used a copper wire.
Oh yeah,
which
that
I
looks
love.
so pretty.
Yeah, I love the tone on that.
The brown and green looks so nice with the copper always.
So I've got my loop at the top of my earring. I'm just going to open up my earring back, whatever type of earring component that you're using.
You know what though? I love lever backs for this kind of project because the earring's kind of heavy. If you have the lever back, it prevents it from falling out. Sometimes I find with the fish hooks, it's easy to lose one.
Well, exactly. And I have one earlobe that's actually a little bit bigger, which I know when the days of the big hoop earrings and all.
Right.
And I always lose an earring. So
lever
once I
backs.
started using lever backs, you will never lose an earring. So, and then basically you'll do the exact same thing
For the other
earring. And then, you know, like you said, I mean, you could use a great combination of crystals.
Right.
Really anything that's top drilled that's going to give you movement for that earring would just be so much fun.
This would make a really great pendant for a chain, or you could use it as a dangle on your necklace too.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, you could just thread it onto a great silk ribbon.
Oh yeah,
or
that's
velvet,
a good idea.
you know, any type of material.
And I always tell people, if you want your earrings to look really matchy-matchy, then you need to make 3. And, right? You use 2 that look the best for your earrings, and then you put the 3rd one on a chain and call it a necklace.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, well,
Perfect.
thank you so
I
much.
love
This
that.
is great, Laura.
Well, thank you, Katie.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
Really makes a statement. All right, and we will be right back. There are 3 essential knots that every jewelry maker needs to know, and in today's jewelry workshop, I'm going to show you overhand, lark's head, and sliding knots. So let's start out with overhand. What you want is a piece of cord, and you can even do multiple cords together, but all you do is loop the cord around your fingers and pass the end through the loop. So that is an overhand knot. You slide this down. If you are using smaller thread or cord, you can use a beading awl to make sure that it's nice and tight. In this case, I'm making a little bit more casual design, so I'm fine with it just positioning close to the bead section here. Now, the next thing to keep in mind with overhand knot is that you always want to tie in the same direction so that your beads will lay really nicely. So you would continue to this end of the strand rather than working the other direction and pull that tight. And then you're ready to add another beaded section. So that works well at the end of jewelry too, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec. But the lark's head knot is kind of a fancy name for this macrame knot. You can use it with any style of pendant that has a larger hole. So what you do is pass your cords through the front. You'll notice that I already folded them in half. Then you're going to bring the ends through that loop that you created and pull that tight. And I like for the 2 cords to be parallel on the front of the pendant rather than in the back. You can see how they separate, but that's totally up to you. Now at the end, you could either do the overhand knot, like I just showed you, or you can do sliding knots so that this necklace is adjustable. If you want to make it adjustable, all you need to do is an overhand knot, but it helps me to visualize if I lay it with the cords pointing toward the front of the piece, and then tie your loop, and you always want to make sure that this cord then is also pointing toward the front of the piece, and that's what makes your knot slide. So you can see there, it's laying in line toward the front. So on the other end, you would just adjust it, and again, make your loop and pass through so that it's pointing toward the front of the piece. So you would poke that through the loop and pull, and that gives you your sliding knots. So that is fun for pieces where you aren't exactly sure how long you want it to be, or if you don't want to use a clasp, you just want to keep it really simple. And then you can slide this to make it longer to fit over your head. Of course, I would trim this up a little bit, and then it's really nice and neat. Now, if you take a look at this bracelet that I have, it's the same 2 knots that I just showed you, the lark's head here, and it has a lark's head on the other side. So you can see that it has cords and the sliding knots. And you pull those back to adjust this bracelet. Now you could also make a choker like this. You would just keep in mind when you're measuring, and that's something that you can measure using the cords on a beading board or with a measuring tape to make sure that you get the right length of cord to be able to create these knots. Lark's head here, and then the sliding knots here. Now on this piece, this is all overhand knots. And I really love the way that this works with 2 pieces of cord. So I have leather cord, and then I also have some metallic thread that's running through there. And I did overhand knots between each of the beaded sections, and it has an overhand knot at each end. So if you look at the end and the loop here, this just fits over the last bead, and that overhand knot is keeping it all in place. This piece has the lark's head knot here at the front, and that's another way that you can use to attach rings and other donut-shaped pendants, and an overhand at the back. And the way to finish this is to add a few crimp covers, and that makes it really nice and finished looking. That's our jewelry making workshop for today. I'm here with designer Molly Schaller with Halcraft, and we're talking about quick and easy projects today. I love this necklace, Molly.
Thank you.
So pretty, and what a great statement.
It is. These are a lot of great stones on here, and you really only need to learn one technique to make the whole necklace.
Even better.
Yep, we're just going to open some gem rings. Now let me tell you a little bit about what we're using here. We've got some sliders, and these come in a bunch of different finishes and stones and colors.
Yeah, and those look like druzy.
Yep.
The inside of the quartz.
That
so
wonderful
pretty.
faceted kind of broken up glass look.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And then all we need to do now basically is you need to choose a chain. So you can choose any chain you want. I chose a shiny gold chain here, and I quickly opened a jump ring and attached a couple of like a toggle clasp,
Okay.
but you could use any kind
So
you
you
want.
just want to make sure that the links are big enough for your
Yes.
jump rings to go through?
Yep. And yeah, you can use pretty fine chain because you can, but the jump rings do have to be substantial enough to hold these large components. So.
Okay. So how do you set up to turn the slider into a pendant?
Well, I'm going to start with the center pendant
Okay.
because it's kind of a double. So I flip these over, and I'm going to use a jump ring to connect the two together. Now, on the backs of these sliders are 4 holes. And so I just choose one, and because they're circular, it doesn't matter which one you choose. So I'm going to go ahead and work the jump ring through that one and through the second one, and then close it up to complete the center drop. There we go. And you just close it up, and then you just find the center link on your chain once you've got it closed. And there we go. And then you get to attach this. So that, like, it holds it together almost as though it's one. You can't even really see that jump ring.
That is so clever.
Then you'll take another jump ring. You can use your fingernails. I sometimes do that, although it's not so good for them. And I'm going to go ahead and just attach this. I eyeballed the center. I sometimes do that on some of these necklaces. And I'm going to use the hole opposite the one I just used.
Okay. And of course, to find the center of the chain, you can fold it in half.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up that way with a head pin or something.
Yep.
Great.
So you've got that. Now I like to start in the center and then work my way out. And some people like their components closer together, and others like them farther, and which shows off a little more of the chain. But on this one, basically, what I do is I just count an even number of links out from each one. And one thing about, these are some components that, these are also 4-holed sliders, but they're oval, so that if you hung them from just one of
they'd
these
be
loops,
crooked.
yeah, they'd be crooked. So what I've done is I went ahead and I put 2 jump rings into each of those holes on the top end of my oval. And then I took a larger jump ring, and I kind of shake these down a little bit, and I'm going to go through this, like so.
So you just want to be sure that you choose jump rings that of the 2 different sizes, or basically you're just looking for the right length on your necklace.
Right. It's something that, and also for these right here, the ones in the ovals, you have to make sure that all 3 of them fit. Like I would have maybe used a smaller jump ring for the center, but it wouldn't have
It
stretched.
wouldn't hang right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it wouldn't be big enough to connect them.
I couldn't connect the 2 jump rings.
Yeah.
So you end up with something like that, and then I just take another jump ring and open it, and I'll use this to attach to the chain. I don't know, on this one, it might be kind of nice to have them closer together, because the one that I demonstrate or have over here they're pretty far apart. So you could just count up, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, add your little jump ring there.
And of
your
course,
big
it's easier when you're working at home and you can pick it up and hold it really
Yes.
close, but we're trying to make it really simple to see. So yeah.
So then you just close it up. And then you're going to continue around in that same manner all the way around, just doing identical links.
Yeah, you know what? I love it even with just the pendant.
It is
What
pretty
a
with
quick
just
and
the
easy
pendant.
gift, too.
That would be really great.
Yeah, so when you are building your structure, then you just have your longer things toward the front and then getting shorter toward the back.
Yep, and if you wanted to continue all the way around, you could, or some people, I'm one of these people, I kind of like having the chain in the back so that it lays flat against my neck.
Yeah.
And you can just make some decisions as you go about colors and texture changes and different things like that.
Yeah, let's take a look at the different colorways because I love the purple necklace especially.
Thanks.
Yeah, and the way that you mix that matte chain with the sparkly findings and components is really pretty. And did you use the same technique to create the pendant?
I did. Well, for the pendant, actually, that's just a regular bead through which the eye pin goes.
Yeah.
But then for the teardrops, which they had a similar situation as the oval shapes, they don't have one hole at the very top.
So you had to create that special triangular hanger with the jump rings.
Yep.
And it looks like you put some bead caps on there. That really dresses it up.
Yeah, I thought that would it kind of coordinates the chain with the beads,
Yeah,
mix
really
it all together.
pretty. Tell us a little bit about the silver one with the druzys too.
That one, you can get lots of different colors of druzys, and so I kind of like almost the gunmetal colored druzy along with more of a matte silver druzy, and then it's kind of like a frosty necklace with those light blue faceted.
That is really
sliders
pretty.
in
And you
there.
have that kind of icy silver chain too.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Let's take a look at the gold necklace and the earrings one more time because I forgot to say anything about the earrings.
Oh, that's all right. I don't know if I'll take a look really quick here, and I'll show you that they also use the same sort of configuration of jump rings in order to help them hang straight.
Yeah.
So.
And I love the way that the druzys and the faceted sliders work together too to kind of create. I really think that idea of juxtaposing the shiny and the matte is really smart. It really makes them pop.
Yeah, I think it's nice. And they also have like these different textures of the rings around the glass and druzy components. I think that those kind of slightly different textures add to it too, because this one's a kind of a brassy one. This one's brassy but plain, and then this one has a nice kind of shiny feel, which gives you a little bit of variation for each design.
This is a really great idea and so quick and easy. Don't forget to visit our website for more great Make It Tonight projects. Next time our topic is It's a Wrap. I hope you'll join us.
Instructions for today's projects, plus other ideas, techniques, and tutorials are available on the web at beadsbaublesandjewels.com. This is show 1803. If you enjoyed today's show and want to see more projects and great guests, download individual episodes for $2.99 each or order a complete DVD set of the entire Beads, Baubles and Jewels Series 1800 for $29.95 plus shipping and handling at beadsbaublesandjewels.com. Don't miss a single episode. Beads, Baubles and Jewels has been brought to you in part by Beading Daily, your jewelry making resource for how-to projects, books, magazines, DVDs, events, and online learning. BeadingDaily.com. Beadalon, a manufacturer of flexible bead stringing wires, memory wire, artistic wire, stringing materials, innovative findings, and tools to help you fashion your own jewelry. Beadalon.com. Dreamtime Creations, an online supplier of crystals, findings, and jewelry making supplies since 1989. Dreamtimecreations.com. Halcraft, jewelry component manufacturer. Halcraft.com.